I've been wanting to do this video for a long time, since I got the gun, and I got the gun about 10 months ago. So I've been wanting to do this video for 10 months. Anyway, welcome to Morlock's review of the Beretta 92X with an LTT slide. All right. So I've started doing something a little different, and you might have seen it with the Beretta 1301 video. But when I do a review, I've kind of decided that I can't just focus on the gun because, well, I get really excited about guns. Man, I love guns. So if I buy something, I was already really excited about it, and I'm even more excited when it's actually in my hand and I get to shoot it. So if I just focus on the gun, then all my reviews are going to be raving, awesome reviews of the guns that I wanted and now have. So that's not really useful to the watcher, and it's not very, it's just really biased. So I've kind of decided that when I start doing a review, I need to add context to it. And that serves as kind of like a baseline for me and my enthusiasm, and also just a point of reference for the viewer. That's you. So for the context of this gun, I've decided to pit it kind of against a MOS GLOCK 45. All right, definitely apples and oranges in some ways, but all fruit in others, right? So let's kind of get started. So I wanted to build out a 92 series to the epitome of the platform for a long time. Since I just found out that Langdon was able to mount a red dot to it, I do like his solution a lot more than the OEM. It's got a lot of inherent advantages, and also it just sits lower and looks better. All right, so I had a stock M9, and I wanted a version of it with a rail, mainly so I could put a weapon-mounted light on it. A lot of the courses I'm going to, they don't require it, but there often is a low light portion of it. And even though you can do a lot with the handheld, it doesn't hurt to have a weapon-mounted light on it. Also, it gives you kind of access to certain universal holsters like the Filster Floodlight, Blackhawk Omnivore, Tier 1 MSP Pro Series. So some holsters that work for other guns will work for this gun if you put a light on it. All right, so that's one reason for it. Like I said, I like that it's all metal. A lot of people refer to this gun, especially this configuration, the LTT optic ready gun, as a poor man's staccato, right? So you still have that full size, full metal, duty grade, precision, precise, basically competition ideals applied to a duty grade platform, right? That's kind of what this is supposed to be. And that's why I went for it. So, initial impressions of the stock gun were, I definitely saw the upgrades over stock M9. It had better sights. It had usable, I should probably have it here to show you, but it had usable, like modern sights, not the little snowman thing. You could drift them left to right. You could replace them with other things. It had modern sights on it. That was nice. It didn't have front serrations, but this slide does. This is a G model, so decocker only. Definitely the better iteration of the 92 series, in my opinion. The stock trigger is not good as far as compared to other DASA. Compared to other Berettas, this is not the smoothest Beretta trigger I've had. However, it is better than an HK DASA trigger, and yeah, it is better than an HK DASA. I don't have too much time on SIGs. I like my 6906 or my 3rd gen Series Smith triggers a little better than this, but this is a standard good middle of the road DASA trigger. It doesn't have any Langdon Tactical trigger job in the bag, NP3 finish, or anything like that. However, the whole purpose of this platform is eventually I will start throwing those parts in here. I just haven't gotten there yet. You could consider this like a stage 2 build, if you will. My next trigger component to this will probably be a optimized trigger bar, right? That will theoretically reduce the reset. It's not that it's terrible on this. In fact, I barely notice it, but that is kind of my next trigger upgrade if I'm going to further invest in this platform. I tried even the stock Beretta trigger bar on the new M9A4 series, and it's pretty good too. So I'll either pick up one straight from Beretta or one from Langdon. I don't really care either way, but that's probably my next investment in this gun. For now, in its stage 2 configuration, I'm pretty happy with it. I really like this grip texture on. It's the same grip texture on the 92X series and the M9A4 series. It's like a more fine yet still rough version of like a Glock RTF finish or RTF2 finish. So same little, like, you know, square bumps on it. It's just a little more, they're finer and they really stick in your hand a little more than a Glock. I also like that they're replaceable. So eventually these will wear down, as with these, but I can simply just put another set on this, whereas I'd actually have to get this stippled. So if I end up putting a lot of time on this platform and I end up wearing down the stippling, I can always replace that. So that's nice. I like it. I like it as a duty grade competition-esque gun. All right, the weight doesn't hurt you in those arenas. I like the ability to thumb the hammer upon reholster. I like that my subsequent shots are precise. I'm pretty good with the double action trigger these days, and so as far as this iteration of it goes, it's middle of the road, but definitely usable. So now let's kind of compare it to the backdrop of a Glock 45 MOS with nothing done to it. So straight up, right now, if I had to pick between the two and actually had to pay for either, again, I probably wouldn't make the investment in this. The fact that you can do this and that out of the box without sending it off, I mean, that's pretty cool. Holster is much more common for this. I have a whole video dedicated to finding and sourcing holsters for this. You're not going to run through those issues with the Glock. So if I was just new to shooting or new to this realm, there's really not a big reason to go from this to this. Now, my personal reason for choosing a DASA, I like that blend of safety and precision, but the one main line in the sand takeaway from a hammer-fired gun is the ability to thumb the hammer upon reholster. I just think it's important, especially on a duty gun, because you are looking at the possibility of having to do a no-look reholster, right? When your hands and eyes and focus are on another task, it's nice being able to positively control the firing mechanism when you reholster. However, in 2022, what a time to be alive. You can actually have that feature on a Glock. I've installed a striker control device on this Glock and my Glock 48. Again, it's just really nice being able to reholster knowing that you're safely, positively controlling the firing mechanism. All right, so that's my line in the sand takeaway. Will not carry unless I have that feature on here. And now that I can add it to a Glock, it's really hard to justify spending the extra time and effort to fit a legacy model of gun into a modern role, if that makes sense. All right, so performance-wise, now I have a bit of a disclaimer, all right? So I've spent a lot of time on this gun over the last year. About 700 rounds through this gun in this configuration, about 100 rounds through a Glock, maybe a little more, maybe 150 rounds through a Glock this year. It wasn't even this Glock, didn't have a dot on it. So yeah, I've got more time and just experience on this gun this year. However, none of that experience or none of those rounds were deliberate practice. All right, so I didn't really have a chance to build muscle memory and shot calling and all the little things that really let you kind of increase proficiency on the platform. I wasn't able to do that with this gun. So 700 rounds is a lot, especially in this economy, but you have to understand every single one of those rounds was fired in a drill for the camera, in a competition, or in a competition. So I ran those rounds through Steel Challenge, I ran them through USPSA, and I ran them through the Tactical Games competition, all right? And then a couple other drills on camera where it was like, cold start drills, all right? So no deliberate practice. I think I zeroed the optic with like 5 rounds before USPSA competition. So, and fortunately, this optic came with the red dot mounted, so I didn't have to really do anything but just confirm 0. So that being said, if you put a lot of deliberate, focused practice where you're calling shots and diagnosing issues and stuff like that, maybe this gun can really come alive for you. All right. And that's kind of my last hold off. In fact, I'm making this portion of the video now. However, this evening, I'm going to run both of these guns through, now that I have access to a range where I can do it. It's kind of some deliberate drills, some deliberate practice to see if I can really make this gun come alive. Basically, and as you'll see through this shooting footage I'm going to roll in and talk about, there isn't $1,000 difference between these two guns in my hands. And that was kind of disappointing, especially after spending so much time with this gun this year, to be able to pick up this gun that I left back home and have it stay neck and neck on my multi-test drill. It's kind of disappointing. You know, it's kind of like, well, what did I want to spend my money on? Was this mostly just hype? Is there really no tangible performance difference? If so, then how could I possibly recommend this platform to people? And honestly, I can't. So we'll see if some deliberate practice really makes it stand out against this one. But just my initial pick up both guns, no. The Jack Wilson drill really highlights the disadvantage of the double action, single action platform. I'm okay with the double action, but it really does make you question your confidence on that first and only round you're sending. Whereas with a striker fired gun, it's really easy to just take up a slack, rest on the wall, confirm your sight picture, and then send it. And you do just end up getting, in my hands, a little bit tighter of a group and just a little more confidence when you are sending the round. I thought this optimized Beretta would really shine on the 10-10-10 drill, but it didn't. In fact, the Glock kind of stayed neck and neck with it. I got a 95 with the Beretta and a 96 with the Glock, and the groups aren't even that much different. So it just really goes to show that even though the platform may be more precise, the shooter may not be able to take advantage of that difference. But again, maybe just more deliberate time on the gun could bring that out. With the mill drill, they're about the same. It's a little easier with the Beretta just because it's a heavier gun. The dot seems to track back to it, but you know, you can correct that with a better grip on the Glock and, you know, still be within the same time. I was really impressed with my performance on this particular fast drill. It's been a long time since I've actually not dropped any shot and made under 7 seconds, or exactly 7 seconds. So I was impressed with myself. How much of that can be attributed to the gun versus me, you know, anyone could say. I'm always faster with the Glock on the fast drill just because the reload seems to be a little more intuitive. The angles seem to help you out a little more than the Beretta's magwell. The point I'm kind of going with this is, with today's shooting, I'm not $1,000 better with my Beretta, which is a shame because the Beretta has actually been the gun I've had the most rounds through this past year. I've probably had at least 600 or 700 through it, and not that much, like maybe 100 rounds. No, I shot one USPSA. So I shot one USPSA match with my Glock this year. Didn't even have a dot on it. And I had about 700 rounds to my Beretta. So extra practice, you'd think I'd be a lot better with it, but again, that's the point of this test, to see how much of that is just hype and how much of that is actually tangible, observable performance. So anyway, thanks for watching. So as of right now, if I had to make the purchase again, I probably wouldn't. With the information I have now, I would just kind of stick to this. It's a ubiquitous platform. There's a lot of advantages in that. Sourcing accessories, magazines, holsters. It's going to be easier for this. The fact that I can add my, you know, striker control device to it as well, kind of makes this a little more attractive. Especially if in exchange for going with this gun, I get to keep $800 to $900 that I could then put towards practice and ammo and training and competitions and stuff like that. So that's where I am right now with it. All right, so my final thoughts. This is a legacy platform that I was attempting to adopt to a modern role, and it's a good legacy platform. I do like the series, but it is a legacy platform. I understand that Beretta just released their M9A4 line, but no one's going to, when I say no one, no department is going to adopt the 92 series for a duty gun. I attended a law enforcement handgun shotgun instructor course last year, and there's only one other 92 series on the line besides the one in my holster, and that was a double action only from kind of an antiquated. The officer himself kind of said that his department was really behind the times. It's not going to happen. With the Army dropping it and adopting the SIG 320, most departments they're going to stick with and further invest in polymer striker fire guns. Just simpler guns are easier to train, easier to maintain. They're lighter to carry. They're kind of the future, and that's unfortunate. But yeah, so this is a legacy gun, and now that they're being made in Gallatin, Tennessee, and Beretta's kind of fledgling QC down there, it's hard to market it as a high quality classic. It's simply not there. It's a solid design, solid platform, but the recent execution of it doesn't warrant its price point or its real consideration over other platforms. So that's a shame. And with that, that's kind of why I'm probably going to put a couple more rounds through it, maybe spend a little more time to see if I can really bring it to life with some deliberate practice. But it's probably going to be eventually be sold and passed on. And I'm just going to end up spending more time on Glocks. I like double action, single action. I really do, and enough so that I will continue to adopt and use it when others don't. But as far as the 92 series, it's probably going to take a back seat in the future now. As far as my choosing the Glock, again, being able to add that striker control device and just the consistency to it, I think for all practical purposes, the Glock is just going to really hold that seat. Next, I think I'm going to kind of start exploring HKs. I mentioned that Beretta's kind of taken I keep beating a dead horse there. But I've kind of been looking for a boutique high-quality firearm to kind of explore next. And a lot of people say, oh, CZs. And I'm not that boutique, all right? Not that boutique. But HKs, I've been really impressed with the USP I have. I think I might pick up a 9C here in the future, a USP 9C. And then I kind of do want to take a look at the HKP30 series. I swear I'm not obsessed with Ernest Langdon and his company, but the fact that they just started offering them with all the upgrades that I was considering anyway and an optic, it might be something worth considering. All right, and I still am kind of looking for that one gun to beat them all. For me, that's going to be a polymer, double action, single action, with a threaded barrel that I can mount an optic to. The PX4 was close. All right, that was, of all the guns I've had, that really is kind of my favorite at the moment. But I couldn't shoot it suppressed, and I have suppressors, so that's kind of why I didn't keep it as a one end-all be-all gun. On paper, the HKP30 or maybe a P2000 might fit that bill, just like I said, it has all the features I'm kind of looking for. So I do want to pick one up to see if it does actually fit the bill in practice. And I probably won't get a Langdon one. I'm also very curious about the HK-LEM, the law enforcement modification. Because I mentioned before that the double action, single action, though I'm pretty proficient with it, when it comes to those, that first shot confidence, I appreciate the safety of a double action, but the fact that you can take up the wall, rest on the wall, and fire your first precise shot just gives you a lot more confidence. So they say that the HK-LEM system is the best thing since sliced bread, and really does combine the best of double action, single action with a striker fire gun. So that's going to be my next exploration. At some point, I'm going to get one of those guns. I actually have USP-9C on order with the LEM mod, so if HK ever imports those again, then I'll be getting one. So that's where I'm with that. That's going to be my next exploration, to really find the end-all be-all. If I could only have one handgun, what would it be type thing, right? But for now, I think I'm still kind of leaning towards Glocks for that role, especially now that I have that striker control device. Anyway, sorry for the rambling. I tend to do it a lot. Those who've explored my other videos are kind of familiar, so the fact they made it this far or even clicked on this, should be no surprise. Most y'all don't even watch the end of the video anyway, which, doesn't hurt my feelings at all, I promise. Anyway, for now, stay safe and take care, guys. Appreciate you.